Well, the season that just keeps giving, just continues to do so, didn't it? At the weekend, my word, that was a really tough watch against Southampton. Obviously, I've done the review already, so I'm not going to go over that game in particular. Just want to talk about a couple of things in terms of our leadership issues. I think that need talking about. Not an easy subject, I'm going to be honest. Before I do, though, usual stuff. If you're new to the channel, do subscribe. It takes 2 seconds to do so. Really appreciate it. Also, we're getting closer to that. Well, we're near close to 14,000 subscribers. So if we can get there, that'd be great. And obviously, the next one will be 15. But yeah, we really do appreciate your support. So if you can hit that subscribe button if you're not there, and also that like button as well. I'll be honest, I was supposed to do this video yesterday. I was thinking about it. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I actually woke up on the Sunday, obviously being Easter Sunday as well, we had plans, and I just couldn't do any West Ham stuff. I'm actually at that, like, it actually affects your mental health, I think. You know what I mean? It really gets you down, and you just think, I actually need a break. I need a breather from thinking about West Ham. I actually had the whole day. I haven't done this I can't remember the last time I've done this. It must be years, literally just came off social media. Didn't want to read anything. I didn't want to acknowledge anything about football. I didn't watch any football. Just feel like that's the way this season's gone. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, it just batters you. It leaves you so drained to enthusiasm. Yeah, and I'm sure there's other people, maybe yourself, watching this thinking, oh, I'm exactly the same. It's just longing for May, longing for this season to be done with. It just feels like it's never ending. It's just a painful one. Yeah, very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. And this is off the back of Niclas Fullkrug, of course, doing that interview. When I did the review, that was later on. He'd kind of recorded that with Sky, and then it came out on the news and stuff. So I saw it, and I thought I'd do a video on that and talk about it. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I'm just so drained, like no enthusiasm whatsoever. Not even to acknowledge West Ham yesterday. I just couldn't do it, and it was, you know what, it was needed. And even today, waking up, I sort of thought, God, I've really got to now get my head back into football again, and it's not easy. Not when things are going like they have been at West Ham now for quite some time. It can batter you. So all my sympathy to everyone else is going through that at the moment, because I know that it's football at the end of the day, and sometimes you do need a bit of a reality check. It's not the be all and end all of life, is it? But you love your football club, you want to do well. We invest so much time and energy and passion into our lives, don't we, into our football club, that it can be very demoralising when it's just week after week of disappointment and it's just going on and on and on. It just feels like there's no end to it. And it felt, especially going against Southampton at home, it's a game that, against a team that are one of the worst in Premier League history, if not the worst, and that's the performance we got. So yeah, very, very disappointing. So yeah, but I feel a bit better about today. I sort of feel like I've got over the worst of that performance, and sort of now sort of standing back and thinking about things a bit more. I want to talk about the leadership situation. Before the Southampton game, West Ham Way had a pre-match event on, okay, at Colour Factory. I was there, and it was brilliant. Alvin Martin was the guest. I've met Alvin a couple of times before. Really, really top bloke, lovely guy. I kind of caught the tail end of his career when I started getting into football. I started going West Ham when I was about 8, really, 7 or 8. So this is 92, 93, around that sort of time. So I sort of caught the end period of Alvin Martin's time at West Ham. And I remember what sort of player he was, and very tough, not to be messed with, really. Gentleman as well, real class act, but also, you wouldn't want to mess with him at all. And I really always admired him. And yeah, as you meet him, when you get to meet him, if you ever do, and he's a really top guy, and he talks about his philosophies in football, and he's a real, he comes from Liverpool. He comes to a bit of a very much working class background, tough. His dad was a boxer and all this sort of stuff. So he comes from a very different, very tough upbringing. The point is, right, that when he came to West Ham, he fell in love with the football club. A great move for him, great move for the club. It was all brilliant, and it kind of reminded me a little bit like Jared Bowen in a sense. Like, he comes from, very much doesn't come from West Ham, very, very much a different background. He's got that sort of farmer's life, isn't he? And he said, like, he spends his summers working on the fields and keeping himself fit that way. And I like that. I love that. And then also another person that's come from no connection of West Ham at all, then fell in love with the club. And Bowen's completely committed his life to West Ham, which is his footballing life to West Ham, which is great. Obviously now with Danny Dyer and stuff, it's just it's great. It's really good. But I will say, when I was listening to him, he mentioned his successors, people, sorry, not his successors, his predecessors, and it was the two captains before Alvin Martin were Billy Bonds, and before him was Bobby Moore. So huge boots to fill when he took over. So it was such a big, huge pressure. And he said, and the importance of being that big leader and taking on the dressing room and being that voice. He said, you were. It was a big role, a big, big role, and I still think it is. A captain of a football club's massive. It's very important. It's not just you wear an armband and that's it. You take on the responsibility. You are leader of the dressing room. Potter gives his tactics out and effectively leads the players to it, really, isn't they? That's how you explain it. It's not as if Potter's going to be with them all the time. Bowen's the leader of the dressing room. That's where my concerns are. I'm going to be honest, and I really got to put. I feel like I've got to put a big disclaimer in this because I can just sense already that I'm going to get a lot of stick. But I want to make it really, really crystal clear as best I can here. Jarrod Bowen, for me, is our best player. I love Jarrod Bowen. I love the fact we signed him. He's been an outstanding player for us, and I'm so thrilled that he signed that long-term deal. It was massive, absolutely massive. So I'm very, very proud that he plays for West Ham and everything else. So please do not think this is an attack on Bowen. It really isn't. I think he's great. But I will say that I'm concerned about the lack of leadership at West Ham. I think it's becoming really evident. And I think it was confirmed as well by Niclas Fullkrug in his interview. Because it's all well and good us all blaming managers. That's a very much a common practice in football. We all do it. I do it all the time. You lose a game, you blame the manager, and or tactics are wrong. The lineup was this, and if anything goes wrong, you take it because they're the fall guy. They're the guy in charge. So that's natural. You get that at all football clubs. It's not just West Ham. It's standard stuff. But when you look at West Ham and the issues that we've gone through over, say, the last 3 or 4 years, where we've just had this torrid time, really, domestically. Yes, we won a European trophy, but I feel like I'll keep repeating it. I feel like that was a plaster. Don't get me wrong, a bloody brilliant one, an amazing and best moment of my life plaster, but still a plaster. There are big problems at West Ham and have been for a long time. We have been massively underperforming, and it's become, and I feel like it's just now reached, it's come to a head. Do you know what I mean? It's at that point now. We can't just keep ignoring it, and we can't keep blaming the managers because I feel like that's all that's been the typical go-to neat reaction, for what's happening. Moyes was getting it, obviously, first of all. Oh, it's Moyes' fault. He's lost the dressing room. He's going, and the players don't want to play for him, and it's all this stuff, and he's too defensive, and all that stuff. And look, time to go, absolutely. I felt it was the right time to go. I felt he actually overstayed his welcome by a year, really. He should have gone the year after, the year of winning the trophy. After he won the trophy, he should have wrapped it up then. That's my personal opinion. Of course, we going. He stayed longer, which was a tough season again. I know we finished ninth, but my word, the second half of the season was horrific. We were getting battered left, right, and centre. Obviously, Moyes then departs, and they brought in Lopetegui, which was a terrible appointment. We've now brought in Graham Potter, right? I will stand by this for now. My view is that I still believe he's a good fit for West Ham. I still think Graham Potter will do well in the long run at West Ham. I just give him time. I feel like he will deliver for West Ham. I'm not necessarily saying next season we're going to be top six or anything like that. I just feel like in the long term, I feel like he'll be a good fit. It's my feeling. All right, I haven't changed that. But the problems are clearly much bigger than a manager is getting the tactics wrong or something, because it is greater than that. Niclas Fullkrug in his interview was brilliant. I love the fact we got that honesty. We saw that from a player to come out and say those things and to give some bit of harsh truths and to these players that need it. They need to hear these things, and us fans need to bloody hear it. It's about time someone said there is a bloody problem here. Against Southampton, I was very, and again, I've got to be really careful here because I really don't want to come across like I'm attacking Bowen here because he scored a goal and he's our best player, as I said. But the lack of leadership was evident in that game. I noticed it quite a lot. I noticed in the first half, I was getting really frustrated with it. Where I sit, Bowen sort of was right in front of me, basically, when we was attacking. And I just didn't see enough in it, to make me go, this guy is G'ing these players up. In fact, it was the opposite of that. I just kept seeing heads going down, frustration. And I'm worried. I'm worried it's a factor. I'm not saying just on Bowen as well. I think as a team, as a collective, we just lack leadership on the pitch. I feel like there's no accountability. Um, there's some really bad performers out there at the moment. And I'd like to know who Fullkrug was alluding to in terms of what he was saying, which was basically calling out some players for ignoring Potter, for not doing what they were being told to do. So he was suggesting that Potter was instructing the team to attack, instructing more of a higher press and wanting to attack Southampton, especially after we went 1-0 up. And he just said that the players weren't doing it. The players were just ignoring those instructions. I wonder whether some of it's a hangover from predecessors where we've just been so used to hanging on to games where it's just an automatic mindset to go, right, we're ahead, we're 1-0 up, let's hold on, let's try and nick it 1-0. I don't know, it's very difficult, isn't it? But it's clearly a big problem at West Ham. This video isn't, by the way, one where I'm saying we need to change our captain. I feel though that Bowen needs to step up. I think we need to see more from this leadership role, because this is where you need that. Like, you know, these scenarios, these situations is where, when you're at the top, you're in charge. And this isn't just football, is it? It's any walk of life in terms of a team and leadership. The team needs leadership. That's what it is. You lead. You lead, whether it be lead by example. By the way, I'm not saying I want Bowen to walk around screaming in people's faces. And, you know, I know that's not his style. But you need to see more than what we're seeing, from my perspective. I think it's a problem. I think that we've got a massive squad issue with an attitude. There are clearly players that have got bad attitudes in this team. We're hearing that Todibo has had a fallout with Potter. Yes, he's playing, but there are reports that he might not be here next season. That he's not showing the right attitude. I'm certainly seeing it from Hamid Kudus. I saw it a fair amount against Southampton with his this shrugging and the shoulders and head down. I get it. He's angry. He's annoyed. But this is not. That is not West Ham. That is not the ethos of West Ham. That's not what this is about. And the reason that I think it was so sort of in my mind and at the forefront of my mind was because of what I'd been listening to with Alvin Martin talking about this, you know, privilege and what it meant to be a West Ham captain, what it means to pull on the shirt, being a West Ham player. I just feel like we've lost that somewhere along the line. I feel like that's gone a little bit. Jarrod Bowen, I think, epitomises West Ham in terms of that his love for the football club and his clear passion for it. And, you know, I've seen interviews of him where he talks about where he lives now. He said he mixes with West Ham fans, and he said, I get it, that family feel. I get the football club, totally get it. So I don't feel like he's a person that doesn't get it. I think he gets it. But I'm concerned that he's not got the personality at times to step up when it's needed. And I'm looking at that game against Southampton and thinking, you really need to be saying things here. You need to be saying that this ain't good enough to Kudus. You know, you don't just walk back and your head down, shrugging your shoulders, getting all annoyed. And it's not just Kudus, by the way. It's happening all over the place around the pitch, isn't it? We've seen poor performers and there's a real problem at West Ham, and I feel like that Niclas Fullkrug interview was just so telling, and we needed to hear it as West Ham fans. We seriously needed to hear it. It was massively important we did, because it's almost like, yeah, about bloody time someone said what we've been noticing for so long, witnessing for so long. So that was good. But look, as I say, I wanted to get this off my chest. And I really want to know your thoughts. I know I'm going to get a bit of stick for this, because Bowen is a wonderful player, a massive player we're all proud of and love at West Ham. But I am concerned about the lack of leadership. And I'm not just pointing that at Bowen. I'm talking about across the board, really. But obviously, Bowen's going to have to come into the spotlight because he is captain. And I'm lost. I feel like Bowen will do well as captain when he's got better people around him, better support. I've got a feeling that some of the players aren't really supporting him. I am very worried. My concern levels have shifted after Southampton in the task ahead. I was kind of hoping that we could see this season through, get a couple of more results over the line. I know it's been crap, but just try and end it as best as we can. And then this summer, clean slate, and we'll bring a few players in, and we'll then see a bit of improvement. I still hold optimism for next season. I'm not shifting my mindset in terms of thinking that things will be better. I think they will get better. But I'm worried about the mindset of this team and just this lack of accountability, this shrugging of the shoulders and heads down. And come on, you're playing flipping Southampton at home. I mean, come on. It was a real worry, a real concerning game, wasn't it? Southampton, the performance, the attitude, everything about it, even the atmosphere, everything about it was just so bad. It's one that it's a seriously bad day. I mean, thank God. I'll say it's the only positives. I struggle to take any positive. The only positive thing of that we didn't lose. That's literally it. That's all I can cling on to. But we need to see a change at West Ham. There are major changes needed, and I think captaincy needs to be discussed. Not necessarily saying that Bowen should be removed as captain. I'm not necessarily saying that, but I'm certainly suggesting that he needs more support in the role, possibly some training. I'm sure there'll be leadership calls. Do you know what I mean? He needs more. He needs to be bringing more, because we're seeing a serious lack of leadership at West Ham. And I think now that Graham Potter is probably more, well, he's certainly not probably, he is far more aware now of the task ahead, which is a big one. This summer is massive for West Ham. Huge personnel coming in, but I think I do wonder whether they've got one eye on leadership roles because let's be honest, at the moment we are completely lacking in it. Anyway, that's my video for the moment. I've got a couple more. We'll have fresh videos out this week. We've got a podcast with David X coming out with some transfer bits and pieces. I really want to try and draw a line and move forward and try and build up some energy, and hopefully we can go into next weekend's game. But I mean, my word, it's hard, isn't it? It's very difficult at the moment. This is a bleak time, a bleak season. But like I'm trying to keep myself in a better frame of mind with it. And I'll tell you what, having a bit of a break, I'll tell you, did me the world of good. Just one day, really did. To get off social media for a bit. Sometimes you just need that. So, yeah. Anyway, have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And let's hope for some better news this week. Come on, your minds.